Man, congratulations.
Hey, thank you.
This movie, it was so funny being in my screening because you could just tell everyone related to it in a deep way, no matter how grotesque some of the moments are. But I want to talk about kind of the visual effects. I heard that you did some shots yourself, but there's also practical effects and stuff, right? From a horror perspective, I liked a lot of the imagery, but what is the balance in finding something that is grotesque and unsettling enough, but also palatable for like a consumer audience, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting. When we were working with the practical effects people and the visual effects people, the kind of guidance the direction I was giving for the body horror stuff was to kind of give it a point of difference from the 80s, the kind of high point of body horror where it was like slimy and gooey. I was like, let's make a body horror where the body horror is like dry and crackly and painful. And I sort of thought that would kind of help ground it in the real world like a little more and stop it from becoming sort of just like a kitsch sort of homage, which was not the kind of vibe of this, even though there are some kitschy moments in it.
Yeah, totally. I really did love the visuals. Even the cinematography, everything's shot so like high quality.
Thank you.
I know you only shot it in like about 20 days. So
yeah,
it's a very impressive looking film. But obviously you got some great talent in Dave and Allison, but the tone really surprised me. There's a lot of good comedy in here too, on top of all the horror stuff. Talk about that balance. I was just like making sure you had bits of both.
Well, my kind of background's in comedy. Like I've made sketch comedy, and everything that I've ever done before is like it's like pretty like ironic and detached. But when I sat down to write this, I was like, I'm gonna write the scariest, most serious movie I can. But then I was just like, why am I kind of resisting? Like as the premise is kind of revealing itself, it's crazy. Like what's happening to these characters is insane. And I was just trying to be like authentic. Like if I was in this situation, I wouldn't be good at this. Like I'd be bad. I'd be like fumbling stuff. And so I was just kind of trying to be real. And by being real, I was like, oh, this is like funny. And then there's a certain point in the film, I think, where it certainly doesn't change tone, like genre. It still like stays horror, but there's a certain point where I'm like, okay, from here on out, it's kind of a roller coaster until the end. Like we're just like doing like a 30 minutes of fun set pieces. And in that moment, like I want it to be scary, I want it to be thrilling, but also like we're having fun here. Let's go for the punchline when it's there.
Yeah. I think there's something interesting. I mean, obviously they're a real life married couple, but like, I wonder if you guys have had any discussions after the reception of the film and like people are loving it. Of like, did they ever talk to you about how they reflect on their own relationship after the fact?
They did say that when we're doing this film, we're either going to become more codependent than ever or get a divorce. And I'm happy to say they are not divorced. But it was such a kind of surreal experience because so much of the characters and their relationship is based on my own relationship of 16 years. And in a way that my partner said was a little upsetting to her that I was writing. But then she was like, oh, you know what helps? Like, I'm kind of being played by Alison Brie in a movie. That's pretty cool. And I'm like, yeah, that is pretty cool. So, yeah, it was weird because, Louis and I, our relationship, we were like kind of seeing that portrayed by these people. And, and they obviously brought their own relationship to it. It was a weird, cathartic, therapeutic, May-December style situation.
Yeah. No, that's very interesting. I do want to talk about fan feedback or like just viewer feedback because I know I have my thoughts, but like I said, in my theater, I could hear the groans and the people just could see themselves and like those toxic traits of a codependent relationship. What has been like your favorite kind of reactions to the film so far that you've heard from other people?
Well, like in terms of reactions, I've had people come up to me afterwards saying like that it kind of helped their relationship in a way, like they found it sort of therapeutic, and other people come up and say, I think this is going to lead to me breaking up with my partner. I'm like, oh, that's pretty intense. But my kind of favorite in-theater reaction was at South by Southwest in Austin. It probably helped that it was like a midnight screening and people were pretty boozed up. There's a scene in the movie that I'm really proud of that goes pretty crazy, and it ends with a fade to black. And it faded to black, and the audience just erupted in applause. And it's like in the middle of the movie, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know that could happen. That was a very kind of proud moment as I'm sitting there getting boozed up myself, and like, they're liking the movie.
No, it's so good. I do have to wrap. Before I go, is that a cameo of you in the Facebook page? Is that
yeah.
I thought I recognized.
I had to have a director's cameo where I don't have to do any acting, and I still get to be on screen.
It's a clever way to put yourself in, but congratulations. Yeah. I really think people are going to love this, relate to it, much. And then get nightmares from it at the same time.
Perfect. That's the goal.
Amazing. Perfect date night movie.
Yeah, amazing. Yes. Hey, thanks, dude.